We are watching for the potential of a pretty significant severe weather outbreak in the Ohio Valley Wednesday night into Thursday. Hey there, friends. I'm meteorologist Shane Smith, and it is late on Tuesday, June 16th, about 8 o'clock as I'm recording this. We are watching for the potential of a very rare type of storm system. This is something more that we would see akin to a spring or even a winter severe weather outbreak. This is not something we would typically see in the summer in the Ohio Valley and specifically here in Kentucky. But we are going to see all the ingredients come together for the potential of a pretty serious, significant weather outbreak, especially off to our northwest. In fact, up into portions of Illinois and Indiana, there is already a moderate risk, a level 4 out of 5 severe weather threat for your Wednesday, June the 17th. If you were watching this in Ohio or Indiana or in Illinois, and you've got friends or family, especially in the northern parts of those states, go ahead and share this video with them and let them know they need to be weather aware on Wednesday, because this could be a pretty big time severe weather outbreak. Now, I typically focus on Kentucky, and I'm going to focus mainly on that, but I am going to talk about some other locations as we break down this severe weather threat. So right now across the Bluegrass, a little bit of rain along the Ohio River. There's a few thunderstorms out into southern Illinois, and it's been cooler than average. We only see temperatures into the mid to upper 70s right now. Tomorrow, though, we're back to the upper 80s. You can see the forecast for a lot of cities scrolling on the right side of your screen above me. And we've got some real deal heat and humidity heading our way tomorrow. And that is going to provide the fuel for thunderstorms that are going to develop. And these thunderstorms, regardless of whether they're severe or not, are going to contain heavy rain. So there's a flash flood risk associated with this. In fact, northern Kentucky under a slight risk of excessive rain tomorrow. A 2 out of 4 on the flash flooding scale. 15% chance of flash flooding for all the towns in yellow. That includes Owensboro, Evansville, Indiana, Louisville, Covington, Sparta, Mayfield, Carrollton. Maysville, not Mayfield. So right along the Ohio River in northern Kentucky. Then we've got the severe weather outlook. Now, we're just in a marginal risk in Kentucky, although I don't want you to let your guard down, because some of the data I'm looking at makes me think this threat may shift farther south tomorrow. But right now they being the Storm Prediction Center, a moderate risk out into portions of Indiana and Illinois. And then as we go into day 3, you can see in most of Kentucky under a slight risk. So what does each of these risk categories mean? What can we expect with each of those? Well, up in that moderate risk, a numerous and very significant severe weather outbreak likely. Multiple tornadoes, thunderstorms capable of producing golf ball size hail or larger, winds in excess of 70 miles per hour or larger. Now, that line should weaken some as it moves into Kentucky, but the problem is it's going to hit in the middle of the night when we're most vulnerable. And as we learned last year in my hometown of London, Kentucky, May 16th, when a tornado hits overnight, it doesn't matter how strong it is, it can be deadly. So we need to be hyper vigilant, especially in northern Kentucky and southern Indiana, southern Illinois, western Ohio tomorrow, as those thunderstorms move in during the evening and overnight hours. Now, the cold front, which is going to trigger it, is off to the northwest right now, where in fact we're already seeing a few severe thunderstorm warnings towards Indianapolis as we speak. And that colder air is going to dive down into Kentucky as we go into the day on Wednesday. Now, ahead of it, few storms tonight. I don't think anything severe, few boomers, a little bit of light rain possible. Tomorrow, we go into the mid to upper 80s and we crank the humidity up. In fact, southern Kentucky, a few of y'all may run towards 90. But then, tomorrow evening, look at this. Major severe thunderstorms breaking out in the upper end of the Ohio Valley. And anywhere you see one of these individual discrete cells, potential of a tornado. Now, this is guidance, not gospel, so don't take that as I'm saying you are going to have a tornado north of Dayton at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying the potential is there according to the data we're looking at. Now, here in northern Kentucky, this approaches us after midnight as of right now, best guess. And notice, even though it's still overall looking like a line, there are individual discrete cells in that line. So let's look at this one up near Covington, and we can actually take a look inside the storm. We can do what they call a skew-T diagram, where we look at the different levels through the atmosphere. And what I'm showing you here is the wind from the surface up to around 10 to 15,000 feet in the air. There's enough shear there that it's at least worth watching. It's not a ton. Some of the models are a little bit more aggressive than this, but there is a fair bit of shear with these storms and enough spin to help them spin up a tornado or two. Here we are at 5 a.m. If this model is right, it's going to be bearing down on Lexington, Moorhead, and E-Town around 4 or 5 in the morning, Thursday morning. And that line should die out a bit, and then we see more storms develop during the afternoon. That might be that's the secondary severe weather threat on Thursday. That was one model's take. That was the HRRR. Here's the rapid refresh forecasting system. Overall, similar idea. But notice it's holding those cells together a lot better than the HRRR, and it's also showing a little bit stronger in the way of shear. Notice there at the surface, southerly wind instead of southwesterly, and then a very strong westerly wind. And that STP fixed, the significant tornado parameter of 4.9. Anything over a 2 gets my attention. I'll just put it like that. So these thunderstorms, as they drive down to the south and the east, if they form and hold together like that, could be pretty potent. Here, speaking of that significant tornado parameter, anything over a 2 is something to look out for. This is midnight Thursday. Louisville 2, Owenton 1.83s, then over 2 at 2 a.m. Covington almost a 3. So that at least tells me there's enough spin in northern Kentucky for some of these cells to start ripping and spinning. Same thing here with the storm relative helicity. This measures the amount of spin in the atmosphere. Anything over 300 is enough to be a red flag for me that there is a pretty good chance of severe weather. And you'll see most of northern Kentucky has that as we go into Thursday morning. Now, once that moves through, we actually cool down on Friday. Some morning storms, then we dry out. Saturday looks almost perfect, and then we get another round of thunderstorms in here for Father's Day on Sunday. So I will have updates as I can tomorrow. I am on vacation. I don't know if I'll be able to go live. We'll have to wait and see, but I will try to post updates as possible. But share this out. Let people know. Significant severe weather possible in Indiana and Illinois on Wednesday. Northern Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Ohio, southern Illinois along the Ohio River need to be on the lookout for severe weather early Thursday morning. Have multiple ways of getting warnings. You want a weather radio and some kind of app. That's the best way to do it. At least 2 ways to get warnings in case tornado warnings, and know where the safe spot in your house is. If you don't know where that is, take the time tonight to figure that where that is. Inside, as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. So an interior bathroom, preferably a basement. Basement's option 1. If you don't have a basement, find a closet, find a bathroom without windows in the center of the house. I've seen a lot of footage of tornadoes over the last year. Every exterior wall is gone, the interior bathroom is still standing. That may be your best bet to get through it. So that's all I have for tonight. I will post updates as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. Take care, stay weather aware, keep checking in for more in the latest in Kentucky weather.